Hello there, this one's very straightforward. I'm ranking Dragon's Dogma 2 Vocations from worst to best. Basically showing up to a buffet, eating every dish and then ranking them based on how much fun I had eating them instead of how they tasted. And it was still hard because every single one of them was awesome in their own way, except for maybe Trickster. No wonder Luz failed to slay our dragon, eh? A lot of people will disagree and that's the beauty of it. My takes will be hot and questionable, but I'll stand by them even 10 years from today, unless a certain somebody rebalances all the vocations officially. So gather round and let's hang out by the fire. After all, Dragon's Dogma 2 DLC is all the friends we made along the way. Number 10, let's just get it out of the way, yeah? Just who didn't make fun of Trickster in the Dragon's Dogma community? I still applaud it because of the sheer size of the balls whoever suggested adding it to the game had. Adding a non-combat character into a combat-oriented game was quite a risk. I personally think the experiment failed, but I respect the creators for trying something that unusual. I think Trickster would work as a great support vocation in co-op. Maybe they low-key had that in mind for Dragon's Dogma 2, but we have what we have. If vocations were my children, I'd love them all, but Trickster would be my least favorite child named Grunt. Bottom line, Trickster feels like a failed experiment, but a bold one. In other words, it's shite. At number 9, I've got Magic Archer. Yeah, I know a lot of people love Magic Archer, hi Pam, and I get it. But to me, Magic Archer will always be Archer without the cool stuff and a glow stick with aimbot taped to it. It's insane that this vocation is so beginner friendly, yet you only unlock it in the second half of the game. And it's not just beginner friendly, it's flat out broken. You can literally erase bosses, including the dragon, with a single attack. But that just makes me check out completely. In fact, I was so uninterested in Magic Archer that I completely forgot it existed while writing the script. Imagine how stupid I'd look releasing a Dragon's Dogma 2 ranking video and missing a whole ass vocation. But hey, I'll give it this. If you are someone who wants to feel like a walking delete key, Magic Archer delivers that power fantasy better than anything else in this game. For me, it's a skip. Respect to you if you main it, but I'd rather main Grunt. Number 8, Mystic Spearhand, the cocky anime hero of Dragon's Dogma 2, constantly trying to prove it's the main character, spamming flashy moves with weird names written in weird English. It's my least favorite melee vocation, and honestly, it feels like the devs just kept saying yes to every idea. And as a whole, it just never clicked to me no matter how hard I tried. This is probably the only vocation on this list I rank on pure gut feeling. I can't justify it with balance or mechanics, it just doesn't click. I know people who'd rate Spearhand as number 1, there are like 2 of them in the world, so they exist, and I get it. It delivers a certain power fantasy, but me, I'd trade Mystic Spearhand for Mystic Knight without blinking. I'd also love to see how Pawn AI would handle Spearhand, but until then, it firmly stays in the not for me pile. Next up at number 7, I've got Mage. I played as a mage for 30 hours straight, the whole playthrough, when I did a challenge run where my pawn had to solo every single boss in the game, random flex. It was fun in that specific context, despite the fact that all I did was stack layers of Palladium and Halidum more than Shadowheart spam's guidance, but I find it quite boring when you main it in a regular playthrough. Let me say something nice about mages though, because you gotta respect mages. They keep us alive, they disrupt enemy spellcasting, they can levitate, and their celestial Paean. And their celestial Paean is bloody gorgeous to look at, especially at night. But again, I'd love to play as a mage in Dragon's Dogma 2 co-op, healing my mates and giving their weapons elemental powers. But similar to, let's say, Trickster, I slog through mage playthroughs. I might be wrong and maybe playing as an arisen mage with a full party is secretly fun, but probably not. Dragon's Dogma 2 co-op would be cool though, right? Like the video and subscribe if you agree. Yeah, it's a disgusting manipulation. Number 6, Sorcerer. Now we're cooking. Sorcerer takes Mage, strips out the boring support duties, and cranks the fireworks up to 11, especially with Meteor on. One button, and suddenly a gob or a cyclop are equally reduced to red mist. It can disintegrate your enemy, or it can disintegrate its corpse. Dead or alive, Meteoron doesn't care. I had my fair share of fun and pain with this vocation. Solo, duo, or full party, it's always happy days with the Sorcerer when the cast goes through. But for me, it's still a solid mid-tier vocation because the highs are insanely high, devastating AoEs, and the lows are painfully low. You're standing still too much for my taste. Or levitating onto a platform and then standing still there. Also, I never hire pawns with Meteoron. That's my Armageddon button. And I don't trust pawns to waste it to slay a bat or something. Number 5, Thief. Thieves are alright. They're the only ones that can dodge, they're fast and flashy, they've got the most badass idle animations and some pretty cool looking armor too. I dig the vibe, and playing as a thief is extra fun, but similar to Magic Archer, it's so OP. The reason I rank it lower than I'd love to isn't just because of how OP it is, but because of how quickly you become OP. Both Meister skills can be obtained early on, and combining them turns you into the ultimate weapon of destruction. Blades of the Pyre with Formless Feint is a cheat code, no matter what weapon you're using. And as some of you know, blades deal damage to enemies and to yourself, but using Formless Feint before blades lets you avoid that self-inflicted damage. It's just ridiculous. I know how this might sound, okay? Thief is awesome and OP, but it's not in my top 3. Hey, that's my hot take. Here, I'll make it less flip-floppy. It's OP and unbalanced, hence it removes the challenge, hence it becomes boring faster than I'd like it to, which is why it lands at number 5. Number 4, Warfarer. At first I really wanted to rank it number 1 for freedom and fashion, but that would be disrespectful for the big 3. Every vocation has 4 active skills, and when you are a Warfarer, one skill slot gets eaten up by rearmament, a skill that switches between vocations, right? I think to truly shine, Warfarer had to have a separate skill set for each vocation, as in 3 active skills plus rearmament. And I'm not pulling that out of my arse either. I tried it with a mod and it absolutely slaps. Warfarer could have been my number 1 easily if it wasn't so underwhelming. It's a blueprint to awesomeness with a huge cigarette burn in the middle, and its fashion is literally carrying this vocation on its skinny shoulders. Number 3, Archer. This is where it really gets tough for me, man, because I'll be honest, I'd love to group all the remaining vocations together and present them as number 1. All 3 are fantastic, but it doesn't work like that here, unfortunately. Archer is sick. I love the slide, I love the regular kick, the flying kick, and the parting gift core skill that lets you kick and then shoot an arrow. Also, there's the curb stomp. Soccer kicking down the harpies in the face will never get old for me. I also think Archer's melee capabilities are massively underappreciated. Brother, that kick breaks poise as hard as Itsuno broke my heart. The most breathtaking finishers I did in Dragon's Dogma 2 were with an Archer. I keep coming back to Archer more often than the vocations I've already ranked. It activates the last few neurons in my brain really hard. But Archer is consistent dopamine, but the other 2 are peak dopamine. At number 2, I've got this one vocation where you fight your enemy with a huge slab of metal. You swing, you pray, and you miss. But when you don't, stars align, planets die, a cosmic reaction happens, and it sends a concentrated dopamine laser beam straight into my gigantic head. That's how I feel when I play as warrior. I think it's a very divisive vocation though. People either love it or are completely uninterested in it. Hype 'em. And I can't blame them. Slow and methodical combat where you have to invest in every single swing and pray it lands is not for everyone. I didn't get it too at first. I think warrior is like blue cheese that smells like corpse's sock when you are 25. And when you are 35 it suddenly becomes sophisticated. And you know what's my personal favorite thing about discovering warrior in Dragon's Dogma 2? It initiated a chain reaction of heavy weapons playthroughs of every single game that has heavy weapons. And finally, number 1, the all-reliable Fighter. I'm proud to say that I'm a Fighter main till the end of times. Fighter's like a duck. Perfect design. Every single thing is well thought of and implemented with surgical precision. The only bad thing I can really say about Fighter, their shields clip through their cloaks. But it's really not their fault. This is the vocation that feels like the spine of Dragon's Dogma 2. You are the wall, the shield, the glue, holding your whole merry band of misfits together. If dopamine from landing a hit as a warrior hits me like a laser beam, a perfect block or a perfectly timed hindsight sweep hits me like a fucking barrage of laser beams. Or charging up your tusk toss mid-animation, or during the blink strike, or the most gruesome Dragon's Dogma 2 skill ever, gouging skewer, chef's kiss. My satisfaction from playing as a fighter is literally endless. Fighter is the definition of simplicity, and it doesn't need gimmicks. The gimmick is that it just works. Every mechanic in this kit feels handcrafted to be satisfying. Shield counters, finishers. For me, Fighter is home. Other vocations might give me a rush here and there, but Fighter is the one I'll always come back to. Reliable and timeless. The true foundation of Dragon's Dogma 2 in my eyes. This was a very challenging video to make, and I probably did a poor job justifying my rankings because most of the time it really comes down to, this is just how I feel, man. I'm 90% sure that yours will look different, so share it for the world to see in the comments unless you're scared of being laughed at.